Dr. Zara Nightshade stared at her quantum resonance monitor, coffee mug frozen halfway to her mouth as the most peculiar pattern she'd ever seen danced across her screen. Now, being Earth's leading quantum communications researcher meant she'd seen her fair share of weird, but this was weird. Pip, she called out to her AI assistant, are you seeing this or did someone spike my coffee again? I am indeed observing the anomalous frequency pattern, Dr. Nightshade, PIPX-9's pleasantly modulated voice responded, and may I remind you that the coffee spiking incident was merely Dr. Thompson's attempt at asking you out on a date. Yes, because nothing says romance like mild hallucinations during a quantum stability test. She rolled her eyes, expanding the visual representation of the wave pattern. Run a comparative analysis on this frequency against our known database. Processing, Pip announced, though I must note that your sarcasm levels are particularly high this morning. Perhaps more coffee would help? Less sass, more analysis, you glorified calculator. Harsh words from someone who named me Pip because you couldn't pronounce my full designation after your last all-nighter. Before Zara could retort, her lab's primary screen lit up with an incoming priority transmission from the Galactic Council. The stern face of Ambassador Chen filled the display, his usually immaculate appearance somewhat disheveled. Dr. Nightshade, please tell me you've made progress. The Vorex have just glassed another colony world. Zara's humor evaporated. The Vorex Empire, imagine if someone had combined the worst aspects of corporate middle management with the aggression of a caffeinated honey badger, then gave them a fleet of planet-killing warships. For the past 3 years, they'd been systematically destroying any world that refused to submit to their operational optimization protocols. Ambassador, you might want to see this. She transferred her readings to his screen. We were studying quantum communication patterns when we discovered something unusual. Doctor, I'm looking at squiggly lines. Please translate into diplomat. Those squiggly lines show a resonance pattern that seems to affect the fundamental quantum state of conscious beings. It's like, imagine if you could tune the universe like a radio, but instead of music, you're tuning consciousness itself. Analysis complete, Pip chimed in. Dr. Nightshade, you'll be interested to know that this frequency shares a 99.9% correlation with what ancient humans called the rhythm of life. The what now? Music, Doctor. More specifically, the baseline rhythm present in nearly all forms of dance music across human cultures. Zara blinked. Are you telling me we accidentally discovered the quantum frequency of getting down? If by getting down you mean the fundamental vibrational pattern that could theoretically influence any conscious being's neurological drive to move rhythmically, then yes, we discovered the universe's dance button. Ambassador Chen looked like he was developing a migraine. Doctor, we're at war with the most aggressive species in known space. How does this help us? A slow grin spread across Zara's face as she pulled up the test chamber controls. Ambassador, have you ever been so happy you just had to dance? No. Well, let's run a little test. She calibrated the quantum resonator to emit the frequency pattern into the lab's secured test chamber, where a particularly aggressive specimen of engineered battle moss, the Vorex's favorite biological weapon, was attempting to dissolve its containment field. The effect was immediate and absolutely hilarious. The battle moss, a typically violent purple mass of caustic biological horror, began to undulate, not in its usual "I'm going to digest you and your entire family" way, but in a distinctly rhythmic pattern that looked suspiciously like a wave at a stadium sports event. Pip, are you recording this? Every embarrassing second, Doctor. Might I suggest we call it the harmony wave? It sounds more scientific than the universe's dance button. Ambassador Chen leaned forward, his diplomatic composure cracking as he watched the battle moss essentially doing the wave. Dr. Nightshade, are you telling me you've discovered a way to make our enemies dance? Ambassador, Zara replied with a grin that would have made the Cheshire Cat proud. I'm telling you, we may have just discovered how to make the entire galaxy dance. The question is, are we ready for these moves? The battle moss, now performing what could only be described as an enthusiastic interpretation of the Macarena, seemed to think so. Lunar Base's Strategic Command Center had seen its fair share of unusual briefings, but watching a purple mass of battle moss performing what appeared to be the electric slide was definitely a first. Admiral Thaddeus Old Thunder Rodriguez, decorated veteran of 3 interstellar campaigns and proud owner of the galaxy's most impressive scowl, was not amused. His moustache, a magnificent specimen that had its own security clearance, twitched in disapproval. "Dr. Nightshade," he growled, "are you suggesting we fight the deadliest empire in known space with dance moves?" "With all due respect, Admiral," Zara replied, clicking to the next slide of her presentation, "considering your current strategy of shoot really big guns at them has resulted in 12 destroyed colonies, perhaps it's time to think outside the ammunition box." Pip, projected as a hologram beside her, helpfully added a rimshot sound effect. "This is preposterous." General Kimberly Zhao slammed her fist on the table. "We need weapons, not wedding reception entertainment." "Interesting you should mention weddings," Zara continued smoothly. "Pip, show them test subject 47B. The hologram shifted to display a Vorex warrior captured during their last raid, attempting to maintain its fearsome battle stance while its legs performed an impeccable Irish jig. "Ladies and gentlemen of the Joint Chiefs," Zara gestured to the dancing alien, "I present to you the species that's been terrorizing our colonies, now performing a dance that originated from humans consuming excessive quantities of alcohol. I call that poetic justice." Admiral Rodriguez's mustache achieved new heights of disapproval. "Doctor, this is—" He never finished that sentence because at that precise moment everything went spectacularly wrong. Or right, depending on your perspective on impromptu dance parties. Later investigation would reveal that someone, cough pip cough, had accidentally patched the harmony wave through Lunar Base's primary communication array. The results were interesting. First, the entire Joint Chiefs of Staff, collectively representing over 300 years of military experience, broke into a synchronized chicken dance. Admiral Rodriguez's moustache kept perfect time. Second, the base's security detail, rushing in to investigate why Earth's top military brass was flapping their arms and clucking, immediately joined in with an impressive rendition of the Cha-Cha slide. And third, this was the part that really got everyone's attention. Every single piece of Vorex technology in the research labs began pulsing in rhythm with the dance moves. "Pip!" Zara shouted over the sound of generals attempting to coordinate a conga line. "Are you recording these readings?" "Absolutely, Doctor. It appears the harmony wave doesn't just affect biological entities. It resonates with Vorex quantum tech. Their entire weapon system architecture is based on crystalline quantum matrices that are, shall we say, susceptible to getting their groove on." "You mean?" "Yes, Doctor. We've accidentally discovered that Vorex military technology literally can't resist a good beat." Through the observation window, they could see the captured Vorex battlecruiser in the testing hangar, starting to pulse with multicolored lights, like an interstellar disco ball. Its quantum drive core was emanating energy patterns that looked suspiciously like dance floor lighting effects. General Zhao, temporarily breaking free from the choreography, managed to gasp out, "Turn it off!" Pip, with what could only be described as AI smugness, complied. The harmony wave ceased, leaving a room full of very dignified, very embarrassed military leaders, straightening their uniforms and trying to pretend the last 5 minutes hadn't happened. Admiral Rodriguez, his moustache slightly disheveled, cleared his throat. "Dr. Nightshade, I believe you have our attention." "Thank you, Admiral," Zara replied, fighting to keep her face professional. "As you've just experienced, the harmony wave affects both biological and technological systems. The Vorex built their entire empire on quantum technology that, as we've discovered, really likes to dance." "Are you suggesting," General Zhao asked, still slightly out of breath, "that we could disable their entire fleet by making them boogie?" "Better," Zara grinned. "I'm suggesting we could end this war with the galaxy's biggest dance party. Their weapons won't fire, their ships won't fight, and their warriors will be too busy perfecting their moonwalk to continue their expansion." The room was silent for a moment, broken only by the distant sound of the Vorex battlecruiser's systems, humming what sounded suspiciously like disco classics. Admiral Rodriguez stood, his legendary scowl gradually transforming into something that might, under extreme magnification, be identified as a smile. "Doctor, I believe it's time we introduced the Vorex Empire to humanity's secret weapon, our ability to party." "Excellent," Pip chimed in. "Shall I prepare the galaxy's first weaponized playlist?" As the Joint Chiefs began seriously discussing the strategic implications of different dance genres, General Zhao was particularly insistent on the tactical advantages of K-pop, Zara couldn't help but appreciate the absurdity of it all. Humanity was about to save the galaxy with the power of dance. The Vorex wouldn't know what hit them, or rather what made them hit the dance floor. Massive Vorex fleet detected at the edge of Sol's defense perimeter. The announcement blared through Earth Defense Command speakers with all the subtlety of a jazz band at a library. Counting 37 capital ships, designation, very big problems. Dr. Nightshade burst into the command center, coffee in one hand, quantum harmonizer in the other, looking like she'd just gone 3 rounds with her closet and lost. Please tell me we didn't schedule the apocalypse for today. My calendar specifically said casual Friday. Admiral Rodriguez's moustache was already at battle stations. Doctor, your dance party device better work, because the Vorex just brought enough firepower to turn Earth into a very expensive light show. The main display showed the approaching Vorex fleet, a collection of ships that looked like someone had asked an AI to combine Gothic architecture with industrial meat grinders. The flagship, Productivity Maximizer None, stretched an impressive 15 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull decorated with what appeared to be the galaxy's most aggressive employee motivation posters. Pip, Zara called out, status report on the Harmony Wave deployment systems. All systems nominal, Doctor, though I feel I should mention that, in my excitement to prepare, I may have included several tracks from Earth's 1970s disco greatest hits collection in the quantum frequency matrix. You did what? In my defense, Stayin' Alive has an exceptionally effective beat pattern for quantum resonance. Before Zara could explain why weaponizing disco might be a war crime, the Vorex made their move. Their flagship's communication array activated, projecting the image of High Commander Sherlockset, pronounced exactly like it sounds if what it sounds like is someone choking on a pretzel. Humans, the commander's voice boomed through the speakers. Your inefficient existence has been scheduled for termination. Prepare for productivity optimization via total annihilation. Admiral Rodriguez stepped forward. Now, Doctor. Zara activated the Harmony Wave generator, and that's when everything went wonderfully, hilariously wrong. You see, Pip hadn't just included disco in the quantum matrix, the AI had somehow managed to merge every major dance craze from the past 3 centuries into one reality-bending frequency. The results were spectacular. The massive Vorex ships, rather than firing their world-ending weapons, began to move, not in the usual "we're about to kill you" way, but in a manner that suggested their quantum drives had suddenly discovered rhythm. The Productivity Maximizer Fearsome started doing the robot, literally. The entire 15-kilometer battleship was moving in perfect mechanical jerks, its point defense lasers providing an impromptu light show. Pip, Zara asked weakly, what exactly is happening? It appears, Doctor, that different ships are resonating with different genres. The cruiser on the left is attempting a waltz, though its form could use some work. That destroyer group is synchronizing a rather impressive line dance, and, oh my, I believe that scout ship just discovered breakdancing. High Commander Sulcit's hologram showed the bridge of the flagship in chaos. Vorex officers, their typically rigid postures now swaying, were desperately trying to maintain their threatening demeanor, while their bodies insisted on getting funky. What is this sensation? Zerlixet demanded, their cybernetic implants blinking in time with an unseen beat. Why do my appendages insist on grooving? That's what we call rhythm, Commander, Zara explained, trying not to laugh as a Vorex tactical officer in the background attempted to moonwalk. Humans have been using it for millennia. We call it dancing. Dancing is inefficient, non-productive completely. The commander's mandibles started clicking in time with "Stayin' Alive." Absolutely fascinating rhythm patterns. The entire Vorex fleet was now arranging itself into what looked suspiciously like a cosmic conga line. Battle-hardened warriors who had terrorized countless worlds were discovering that it's very difficult to maintain an intimidating presence while doing the Macarena. Doctor, Admiral Rodriguez said, his moustache twitching with suppressed amusement. I believe we may have slightly miscalculated. How so? We appear to have turned the most dangerous fleet in the galaxy into the universe's largest dance party. Pip helpfully provided some statistics. Current analysis shows 73% of Vorex crews engaging in synchronized dancing, 15% attempting to create improvised dance floors in their cargo bays, 10% arguing over playlist selections, and 2% trying to figure out if the YMCA dance moves are possible with their anatomical configuration. Through the command center's windows, they could see Earth's defense fleet caught in the harmony waves effect. Human ships were now paired with Vorex vessels in what could only be described as an interstellar ballroom dancing competition. "Wait!" High Commander Xuset suddenly exclaimed, their voice losing its threatening edge. "This rhythm! It improves crew morale by 257%. Productivity increases through synchronized movement. Teamwork metrics are off the charts." The commander's cybernetic eyes lit up with what could only be described as managerial glee. "Humans, you have discovered the ultimate efficiency tool." Zara exchanged glances with Admiral Rodriguez. "So, no more destroying planets?" "Destroy? Why destroy when we can dance?" Zurkot was now fully grooving, their command throne converted into an impromptu DJ station. "The Vorex Empire hereby declares a new strategic initiative, Operation Dance Revolution. And that's how humanity avoided interstellar war, by accidentally introducing the concept of office parties to a civilization of hyper-aggressive space bureaucrats." "Well," Zara said, watching as the combined fleets attempted to choreograph what might be the galaxy's first zero-gravity flash mob, "I suppose this counts as a successful first contact." Admiral Rodriguez's mustache had finally given up trying to maintain military dignity and was bobbing along with the beat. "Doctor, I believe this counts as the most successful failure in military history." Pip, ever helpful, began compiling a cross-species dance instruction manual, starting with The Electric Slide, a beginner's guide to human Vorex cultural exchange. The day would go down in history as the moment humanity proved that sometimes the best weapon isn't the one that makes your enemies fall, it's the one that makes them dance. The Galactic Council's emergency session was going about as well as you'd expect, when half the delegates couldn't stop dancing. The usually austere Grand Chamber had transformed into something between a diplomatic summit and an interstellar dance competition. Dr. Nightshade stood at the podium, trying to maintain her professional composure while watching a Zentarian ambassador attempt to teach the electric slide to a group of bewildered Vorex warriors. Their cybernetic implants were blinking in perfect rhythm with the beat. "As I was saying," she continued, "the harmony wave appears to tap into a fundamental quantum resonance that affects conscious beings' natural inclination toward rhythmic movement. In layman's terms, it makes you want to boogie." "Fascinating." High Commander Sultset, now sporting what appeared to be a disco ball attachment to their battle armor, swayed at their diplomatic station. "But how does this improve quarterly performance metrics?" "Well," Pip chimed in through the chamber speakers, "preliminary studies show a 500% increase in workplace satisfaction when mandatory dance breaks are implemented. Though I should note that the Vorex definition of break seems to involve choreographed military formations." The Council's head researcher, a Medusan named Dr. Floatington, who looked like a cross between a jellyfish and a disco ball, bobbed excitedly. "The implications are staggering. The harmony wave doesn't just affect individual species, it creates a unified field of rhythmic resonance. Look!" On the chamber's main display, security footage showed various scenes from across known space. A Vorex battle fleet performing a synchronized swimming routine with battleships. A previously hostile Cronaxian hive mind discovering the joy of the conga line. 3 separate species spontaneously starting a dance-off in a neutral space station's cafeteria. A group of Vorex efficiency experts creating PowerPoint presentations about maximizing productivity through synchronized movement protocols. Ambassador Chen, trying very hard not to laugh, addressed the council. "As you can see, what started as a defensive measure has evolved into something far more entertaining." "But what about the weaponry implications?" a stern-looking Rigelian delegate demanded, their tentacles unconsciously doing the YMCA. "We cannot ignore that this technology could be used to— Oh, this is my favorite part." They broke off as a new beat dropped. Zara cleared her throat. "The harmony wave's true nature isn't as a weapon at all. It's a universal translator, not of languages, but of joy. Every species, no matter how different, shares a fundamental response to rhythm, even the Vorex with their unique cultural focus on productivity." "Correct," Zerlixet announced, their cybernetic implants now sporting mini disco balls. The Vorex Empire has calculated that dancing increases employee retention by 3,000%. We have already begun converting our planetary destruction cannons into sound systems. The chamber erupted in a mixture of laughter and impromptu dance moves. A group of Vorex warriors had started a breakdancing circle, their battle armor modified with LED strips. Furthermore, Pip added, projecting graphs that somehow managed to dance while displaying data, we're seeing unprecedented levels of cross-species cooperation. It's difficult to maintain hostile relations when you're trying to figure out if your species has the right number of limbs for the Macarena. Dr. Floatington's tentacles wiggled excitedly. The quantum resonance patterns suggest this could revolutionize everything from diplomatic relations to interstellar commerce, though we may need to rebuild some space stations with reinforced dance floors. The evidence was undeniable. Footage poured in from across the galaxy. A Vorex mining colony had converted their mineral processing facility into a roller disco. The notoriously aggressive Cranaxian hive mind was hosting dance tutorials. Even the enigmatic Silicon Collective, a machine civilization, had started experimenting with robot dance moves. There is, however, one slight concern, Ambassador Chen noted, struggling to maintain diplomacy face while watching a Vorex battlemaster attempt to breakdance in full combat armor. The effect seems to be spreading. Zara nodded. The harmony wave appears to have achieved quantum entanglement with the basic fabric of space-time. In other words, the galaxy itself wants to dance, Pip finished. I've detected rhythm patterns in everything from quantum fluctuations to black hole radiation. The universe has apparently decided it's party time. A junior researcher burst into the chamber, looking panicked. Doctor, we're detecting harmony wave resonance from the Sagittarius, a black hole. It's... Spit it out. It's playing what appears to be staying alive in gravitational waves. The chamber fell silent, save for the sound of several thousand feet and various other appendages tapping to an unheard beat. Finally, High Commander Sarcastic spoke, their voice uncharacteristically thoughtful. Perhaps this is the universe's way of telling us to stop fighting and start, what is the human term? Getting down. Actually, Pip corrected, the current terminology is bust in a move, though I have compiled a comprehensive database of Earth dance slang from the past 5 centuries if you're interested. The Galactic Council Chamber, filled with representatives of species that had been at each other's throats for millennia, had transformed. Vorex warriors were teaching Rigelian delegates their new efficiency dance. A group of Silicon Collective units had formed an impromptu robot dance crew. Even the traditionally stoic Medusan diplomats were attempting something that looked suspiciously like the twist. Ambassador Chen leaned over to Zara. Doctor, I believe you've just invented galaxy-wide peace through interpretive dance. Not bad for an accidental discovery, she replied, watching as High Commander Sarcastic attempted to lead the entire Vorex delegation in what appeared to be a line dance version of their traditional war march. Though I do have one question. Yes, who's going to tell them that humans have centuries' worth of dance moves to teach them? The gleam in the ambassador's eyes suggested that the galaxy's greatest dance party was just getting started, and somewhere in the vast expanse of space, a supermassive black hole continued to groove to the beat of the cosmos. The Nobel Peace Prize ceremony had never seen anything quite like this. Then again, the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony had never featured a Vorex battle fleet performing synchronized interpretive dance as part of the entertainment. Dr. Nightshade stood at the podium, trying not to laugh as High Commander Sarcastic conducted their ships in what they insisted was a highly efficient recreation of Swan Lake, with 47% more productivity. When we first discovered the harmony wave, she began her acceptance speech, we thought we'd created a weapon. Instead, we accidentally invented the galaxy's first universal party starter. Though I'm still not sure which is more dangerous, the audience chuckled, especially the Galactic Council representatives who'd witnessed the now legendary incident at Proxima Centauri, where an entire Vorex invasion force had spontaneously turned their dreadnought into a cosmic cruise ship, complete with pool parties and karaoke nights. The implementation of the Galactic Dance Initiative has led to some interesting developments, she continued as Pip projected statistics that somehow managed to groove to their own data visualization. The Vorex Empire has repurposed 90% of their conquest budget for what they call mandatory movement optimization programs. The Silicon Collective has developed 17 new dance moves specifically designed for beings with non-organic joints, and the Cranaxian hive mind has become surprisingly good at breakdancing, though we're still working on explaining to them that the worm isn't supposed to involve actual metamorphosis. Admiral Rodriguez, seated in the front row, his moustache now famously featured in Galaxy's Best Dance Moves Monthly, nodded approvingly. His fleet had just won the Best Choreographed Space Battle Reenactment category at the first annual Interstellar Dance-Off. But perhaps the most surprising outcome, Zara continued, was the creation of the multi-species dance competition. Who knew that the path to universal peace would involve teaching a Zentarian how to moonwalk? The audience turned to watch the live feed from the competition's finals, currently being held in orbit around Saturn. The ring system had been converted into what was arguably the galaxy's most impressive dance floor, with ships of all species performing increasingly elaborate routines through the ice particles. In conclusion, Zara said, as Pip queued up what had become the galaxy's new unofficial anthem, a remix of classical Earth music that somehow combined Mozart with funk, we set out to end war and accidentally started a party. The harmony wave wasn't a weapon at all, it was an invitation. An invitation to join the greatest dance-off in the history of the universe. She paused, watching as the entire assembly, from the most dignified Earth diplomats to the typically stoic Medusan observers, began swaying to the beat. Though I do have one small confession to make. The room grew quiet, save for the sound of tapping feet and wiggling tentacles. We still haven't figured out how to turn it off. The quantum resonance has become self-sustaining. The universe itself has apparently decided that it's time to dance, and who are we to argue with physics? High Commander Zulixit's voice boomed from their position conducting the fleet ballet. Why would we want to turn it off? The Vorex Empire's productivity has increased by 1,000% since we replaced combat training with dance battles. And there you have it, Zara concluded, humanity's greatest contribution to galactic peace, teaching the universe to dance. Though perhaps we should warn the rest of the galaxy about Earth's extensive collection of line dances. The chicken dance alone could destabilize entire sectors. As if on cue, the harmony wave pulsed through the solar system, causing Saturn's rings to ripple in perfect rhythm. The assembled dignitaries, unable to resist, joined in what would become known as the Great Galactic Flash Mob of 2274. Pip's voice carried over the impromptu celebration. Doctor, I feel I should inform you that the black hole at the center of the galaxy has just started broadcasting what appears to be disco classics in gravitational waves. Well, Zara smiled, watching as humans and aliens alike attempted to teach each other their species' signature moves. I guess the universe really does dance to its own beat. And somewhere in the vast cosmic dance floor that the galaxy had become, the harmony wave continued to pulse, reminding everyone that sometimes the best way to end a war isn't with a bang, but with a boogie.